You have no choice but to operate in a world shaped by globalization and the information revolution. There are two options: adapt or die. You need to plan the way a fire department plans. It cannot anticipate fires, so it has to shape a flexible organization that is capable of responding to unpredictable events. Andrew S. Grove, Intel Corporation. Okay, let's start with a little bit of firefighting wisdom from Andrew Grove. He's basically saying, welcome to the globalized digital jungle. You either adapt or you become a fossil. And let's be honest, nobody wants to be a fossil. Virtual teams are everywhere, right? It's the cool thing to do. Technologies made it easy, global markets demand it, and everyone wants that competitive edge. But here's the kicker. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you're doing it well. At OnPoint, they started noticing a trend. Companies were throwing their teams into the virtual deep end, hoping they'd swim. They were recycling old co-located team guidelines and basically crossing their fingers. Spoiler alert, that's like using a toaster to fix your car. It just doesn't work. So, the decision was made to get to the bottom of this. People wanted to know why some virtual teams are crushing it while others are, well, crashing. 3 crucial questions were asked. Why do so many virtual teams fail to meet expectations? What makes the best virtual team stand out? And what makes a truly effective virtual team leader? We weren't comparing virtual to face-to-face. We were focusing on what makes a virtual team tick. We wanted to give companies real, actionable strategies to boost productivity. 427 team members and leaders were surveyed. Third-party feedback from 99 stakeholders were received, and over 50 interviews were conducted. Even 304 people on virtual teams were surveyed, but not on the same teams. They were thorough, to say the least. And what did they find? Well, let's just say it wasn't all sunshine and virtual high-fives. 25% of individuals reported their teams were not fully effective. That's a quarter of your virtual workforce saying, yeah, this isn't working. 27% of teams were rated adequate or worse by stakeholders. Ouch. Even the teams themselves admitted that 17% were adequate or worse. But here's the really juicy bit. There was a massive disconnect between how stakeholders and team members perceived performance. 1/3 of the teams had a significant gap in perception. That means some teams thought they were rocking it, while their bosses were thinking, are they even doing anything? So, why the chaos? Why are so many virtual teams falling into the abyss? We asked hundreds of team members and leaders to spill the beans. Here's what they said. Lack of face-to-face contact, 46%. No surprise there. Virtual teams often meet in person only a few times a year. And, as we found, teams that met face-to-face at the start were more effective. So, maybe skip the virtual handshake and go for the real thing. Lack of resources, 37%. Time zone differences, 29%. Trying to schedule a meeting across multiple time zones? It's like trying to herd cats. Team members on too many teams, 27%. People are stretching thin, and this one was especially prevalent in low-performing teams. Lack of information sharing, 21%. Lack of skill training, 20%. And here's the real kicker. Many team members didn't even know who their teammates were or who their leader was. It's like a virtual team mystery party, but nobody knows the rules. Why? Well, teams change members monthly. People were added for political reasons, not skill. And sometimes teams just happen. Like, oh, do we need a virtual team? Sure, let's just throw some people together. One of the clients, a global consulting firm, realized they were running on virtual teams without even planning it. It was like they woke up one day and were suddenly living in a virtual world. So, what's the takeaway? Virtual teams are powerful, but they need structure, clear roles, and effective leadership. And in the next chapters, we'll dive into how to fix these problems and turn your virtual team into a well-oiled machine.